Hi there, welcome to the Women in BIM webinar for June 2020. I don't know if you guys can hear me okay, I hope so. My name's Vicky Reynolds and I am the Global Vice Chair for Women in BIM. So we're gonna pack full today's agenda with lots of interesting presentations from some of our core team and hopefully you enjoy yourselves. So, who are Women in BIM? Bear with me just 1 second. There we go. So, there we go. So we are a group that focus on retaining women in the digital construction and BIM environments through support, collaboration, teamwork and networking, and you'll hear a little bit more about that from our chair, Rebecca, in a moment. But we've been really fortunate this year because we have had some corporate sponsorship from two amazing organisations, leading on from our initial corporate sponsors last year who were Multiplex. This year we have Glider BIM or Glider Tech, who are our golden sponsors, and they're giving us a lot of support, and they'll be presenting to you a little bit about who they are and what they do later in this webinar. We're also lucky enough to have a silver sponsor this year, and that is Cert Central. Cert Central are a platform that uses workflows, digital tools to manage better information management, better quality assurance, and basically better health and safety management across major projects. They're not presenting at this webinar, but we'll have them involved in our next webinar so you can hear a little bit more about what they do. So thank you so much to both of those organisations. So today, obviously there's an introduction from myself, which we're going through right now. You're going to have a presentation from our gold sponsors. That's going to be presented by Nick Hutchinson, and some information from our founder and chair, Rebecca DeChico, about who we are, the journey that we've been through as an entity and as an organisation, and how we've grown. And then our mentor lead, Katia Valeva, is going to talk to you a little bit about mental health and managing that during lockdown. And then we'll finish off with some Q&A, which I'll manage. If you have any questions at all, then just post them in the dialogue box that you have, and I'll run through them. Any questions that we don't get through today, what we'll do is we'll put them to our panelists and release them in a post on our social media channels afterwards. So don't be too disheartened if you ask us a question and it doesn't quite get to our panelists today. We'll do our best to respond to everybody. So without further ado, I will pass on to our gold sponsor, Nick Hutchinson. Thanks, Nick.
Good morning. Thanks, Vicky. Good morning, everybody. I will just share my screen and then we'll kick off my presentation. So bear with me for 1 second. And Vicky, if you can just let me know that I'm broadcasting our slide deck and you can see that clearly.
I can see that, yep. Thanks, Nick.
Fantastic. So good morning, everybody. My name's Nick Hutchinson. I'm one of two co-founders of Glider Technology, and I now assume the role of Managing Director for our business. A little bit about me. My career started out as a junior software engineer, computer science graduate, and I almost fell into the construction industry, not by choice, but by working with a small software development outfit up in the city of Leeds. And I was quickly introduced to a large multinational commissioning management consultancy in London, or headquartered in London, called Dome Group. And Dome have a fantastic reputation and have been working for the last 20 years within our industry, mastering the art of commissioning management and the handover of large complex projects. I worked there for getting on for 15 years. I was a board director there, and I looked after the technology division, creating a set of tools that provided commissioning management reporting, field mobile applications for commissioning data capture, snagging and other construction management activities, and we had a great time. It allowed me to work not just in the UK and across Europe on large complex projects, but in fact all over the world, as far as Australia and the USA, as well as the Middle East. And what that 15 or so years of experience taught me was that there was a lot of waste, a lot of issues, a huge cost associated with information management. And that's right throughout the entire life cycle of any built facility. And I saw firsthand the problems that were born out of the more traditional document-driven processes around information management. I've been fortunate to work with government departments, but also large blue chip companies, predominantly in the asset owner occupier space and building developer space, the likes of Land Securities here in the UK, Standard Life Investments, British Land, and many more. And the whole issue around information management using sort of document-driven procedures was one of the core reasons why I started Glider with my business partner, Steve Ruckerts. And the core reason was really to disrupt the information management status quo and to approach information management in a much more data-driven way. And Glider BIM was born. Glider BIM is our software product that you'd recognize as a common data environment, but rather than a CDE for the design and construction stage, we deal with that, but we're also focused on the end user and the ongoing life cycle of that built asset. We started Glider in April 2016, and we've enjoyed 4 fantastic years of continued growth and success, which we are extremely proud of. And personally, and as a company, we've supported women in BIM for some years now, and we're very proud to do so. And you may not know, I even found my way onto the Women in BIM homepage. So quite literally, I've been behind you guys from the start. And we support the core mission of Women in BIM, but I think there's more to it than that. I believe that we've got a shared approach to slightly, or in fact, very different issues within our industry, but an aligned philosophy of how we can challenge that and hopefully rectify that. So the key problem that we recognise in our industry with regard to BIM is that it's falling short of its life cycle potential. And Glider came about to address the cliff edge of BIM that has limited its use throughout the entire asset life cycle. And of course, Women in BIM came about to address the lack of diversity in BIM roles, which we firmly believe are some of the most exciting and impactful roles in the construction industry today. And there's 2 blockers on both sides of that fence. The blocker for us as a technology SME is the inherent cynicism that we experience on a weekly basis, unfortunately, when we try to talk to the industry about solving problems. And that inherent cynicism is really based on people often thinking that we're just trying to sell some software and sell some licenses to make some money. And in fact, of course, there's some truth in that. We wouldn't exist if we didn't sell licenses, but we truly are trying to solve some of the industry's problems around information management. And unlike some of the bigger companies, bigger software companies that we compete with, we can't easily buy our way past this particular blocker. And for women in BIM, I think there's always been a struggle for a voice as a minority due to the entrenched behaviours that you guys experience. And due to those entrenched attitudes and behaviours, it makes our industry less desirable and harder to progress for women. So what's the solution? I think this is the solution that's very much an aligned philosophy. For us, we take a positive stance to support and empower our clients to expect more from BIM. And you guys certainly do the same in order for women to be successful in BIM roles across our industry. And we don't just support women in BIM because of what makes us similar. We also truly believe in diversity being good for our business. A wider range of voices and opinions are proven, in my opinion, to deliver better outcomes. And my personal experience over the last, getting on for 20 years now in our industry, convinced me to start Glider to create a business which is more welcoming, flexible, diverse, impactful, positive, honest, as well as having a truly remote working base. And for all those reasons, we want to invite talent from around the globe. So if you like the sound of that, the great news is we have been hiring through this crisis. We have been growing. We've been very fortunate to do so. And we're still very much on the lookout for people who share our values and our passion for information management and technology for the built environment. Software engineers, data scientists, and of course, BIM specialists. So please get in touch if you're weighing up your career options. And we're continually looking at ways to grow our talent pool. And one of those ways is to maintain a list of what we believe to be pretty incredible people in our industry who we think would certainly add value to our business. But one of the biggest challenges in getting the best people is precisely what women in BIM are trying to address. And we see the same pattern time and time again when we try to bring talent into our business. As we take on new clients and projects, we really want to have access to a diverse palette of talent. But sadly, more often than not, there is a slim selection of candidates who are ready to do the specialist work that we do. We're not perfect, and we don't claim to be, but we certainly strive to be. And something that's absolutely key to how we operate, everyone's getting used to the working from home scenario. We decided when we started out in April 16 to have a truly remote working operation from day one. So we've never had an office and we never plan to. We reckon we're probably somewhere between level 3 and level 4 of this particular chart, being remote first or distributed when things go truly asynchronous. We're aiming for Nirvana, but we certainly don't claim we're there just yet. We have flexible hours, unobtrusive security policies, and best-of-breed communication technology to really keep our team connected. We have online events, and of course, before the crisis, lots of parties and events face-to-face, and I'm sure that they will eventually return. But what do we actually do? We're going through a bit of a rebrand exercise at the moment to resolve some of the marketing issues I think that we've got and our identity as a business. We do two things. We're not just a software vendor. We build digital solutions for our customers, but we offer consulting services around BIM, digital twin enablement, information management, and the requirements therein. And we have a team of experts that allow us to do that. As a digital solutions provider, it's probably no surprise that our vision statement is quite broad and certainly ambitious. And that's to build an advanced relationship between the built environment and society through innovative data management technology. And of course, our Glider BIM product supports that. And our long game is to play a significant role in the development of digital twins for our customers, but also work closely with the CDBB and UK BIM Alliance to think about and be part of that evolution of the national digital twin work. And we hope, and we're already seeing, that our work here in the UK will impact overseas digital twin initiatives. But before we get too carried away, we're well aware that good BIM delivery and the delivery of trusted data really underpins any digital twin strategy. So we have a keen focus and a specialism around the development of information requirements, the delivery of structured data, of course, utilising open BIM standards, COBie schemas, IFC, and others. And also ensuring that wherever we can, we promote the adoption and use and educate people on the benefits of ISO 19650 and the UK BIM framework. Our focus certainly looks at that digital handover of information to the end user so that they can then effectively manage and operate and safely operate their facilities. And to achieve that vision, we have a fantastic team of information managers, BIM consultants, O&M managers, as well as an in-house software engineering team that continuously develop and evolve the Glider BIM platform. And we use our own software to deliver our consultancy services, and we can't imagine delivering our information management services without Glider BIM. So we're constantly investing in both our consulting operation as well as our software delivery service to meet our customers' ambitions. And over the last 4 years, we've been very fortunate to work with some absolutely fantastic customers, both in the employer space, so that asset owner occupier space, working with central government departments, as well as many private institutions and blue chip companies. We also work very closely with tier 1 contractors, and we've got a wealth of experience of delivering or helping a tier 1 contractor team and their supply chain and design teams to deliver a compliant, accurate, complete set of asset data to comply and meet, and if not exceed, the contract obligations. So lastly, I just wanted to focus on one key customer of ours that we're extremely proud to announce our relationship with, and that's the Defence Infrastructure Organisation, the DIO. They're part of the UK Ministry of Defence, and it's bonkers to imagine that they manage approximately 1.8% of the UK's landmass. They have somewhere in the region of 130,000 individual built facilities. And our services that we're providing to the DIO is the design, implementation and rollout of our data-driven CDE Glider BIM software across their entire existing estate, as well as managing information for capital delivery projects. And in doing so, we're assisting DIO with many other stakeholders and parties to develop their data standards and information requirements under the umbrella of their own information management framework, which is very mature and developing as the months go by. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding of what Glider is all about, who we are, who we work with. And I'd just finally like to say we are thoroughly enjoying our relationship with Women in BIM. We think it's a fantastic initiative, and we hope that it can only grow in years to come. So thank you very much for listening to me this morning, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar. Thanks, Vicky.
Who works in tech, it's an embarrassing problem to have. I'm going to pass over to Beck DeChico now, our founder and chair. Rebecca, are you ready to present?
Yep, ready to go. Bear with me and I'll just quickly share my my webcam. Hopefully, just confirm you can see me, Vicky, and I'll click on.
Not yet.
Oh. We can see you. On here.
Maybe it's a problem with me then. Crack on.
So hopefully everybody can see me. I'm literally crouching against a white wall as it's now almost 6 p.m. in Australia. So I'm running the webinar from Australia this morning. So hopefully everybody is obviously based wherever you are across the world. We've got a good reach, I guess, in terms of members, and I've seen some of you have attended from all over the place, which is wonderful. So thank you, firstly, to Vicky for introducing, and secondly, big thank you to Nick. We value and appreciate your support. And, you know, obviously groups like ours as not-for-profits wouldn't be able to function the way we do without having support from both, obviously, Glider and IP3 today and this year, really. So we were really lucky to have you guys on board, and thank you again. So with that, what I will do is I'll give you a kind of, you know, some of you already know about it, but I'll give you a bit more about our history today as women in BIM and the reasoning why it's such an important initiative globally. And I'll move on to some of the things that we've been doing in the last few months and even up to today, really. And we've had some really exciting projects and things that have been going on. So hopefully you enjoyed the webinar and this session. And I've got 10 minutes, so I've got to make sure it's not too long, but bear with me. So I guess the first point really to touch on today is that we have, obviously, like every other industry group, a history, and that history comes with very much some pivotal, I guess, historical moments in terms of BIM globally. And for me, as the founder, I've been quite closely connected, living out of the UK for almost 10 years, to the UK BIM policy, and very much found that obviously as a government, and the push for obviously the UK BIM policy in that region has been instrumental in orchestrating really big change, which has been wonderful. But with that, what I found back in 2011, and you know, working with not only in my background, which was in architecture and construction management, but certainly in I guess the BIM community, which was relatively small back then, there was a lack of diversity, and not only was that a lack of female participation in the BIM space, but also just a general lack of diversity, and that caused me, I guess, some concern in that space, and hence it pushed me to develop the initiative. And the initiative was, okay, how do we draw some attention to, I guess, this BIM / technology / process piece for women to enter roles that they weren't necessarily interested in to begin with, or that weren't necessarily, I guess, appealing to them. So the point for me was, okay, start an industry group. So in 2012, it was very much just a LinkedIn community, and from there, we've very much grown across the years, and that was very much to support, again, bringing in obviously diverse groups in this space to address some of the things that most of our core team, Vicky, Katya, and the others have spoken about in the past at our past events, is this massive skills shortage. So in 2014, we created our first core team based out of the UK, and we started to grow the community, obviously the social media groups around women in BIM, which was really very exciting. With that, we then obviously hosted some networking events, which was very much just about bringing people together. And I'll talk about our core themes and why that was important in a second. But the global networking initiative, not just in the UK, we hosted many events in the US between 2014 and 16 as well. We had support from some of the large software companies back then as well, which was wonderful. And we were able to host quite large, actually, networking events back then. And more recently, I guess we've very much been growing in terms of our global reach. So the past few years, you know, we've very much supported a global growth of the group. We have regional leads, which I'll talk about as I move through this presentation and what that means. We have a larger network in the UK. We have close connections to the UK community groups and affiliations, such as the UK BIM Alliance, and we now have global reach and development of, I call them, projects, and one of our key projects orchestrated by our mentor lead, Katya Valeva, is the Mentor Scheme, which you've hopefully all heard about. So I guess with that, the history has been wonderful, and there's been some great things that have happened. And you know that obviously we have some sponsors this year, which again has just been The first year we've had 2 major sponsors, a gold sponsor through Glider and a silver sponsor through Central. But our first major sponsor last year was Multiplex, which some of you may know through Vicky Reynolds and her obviously affiliations. So we've had some really good support through Glider and Central, and they've been very much key and instrumental to some of their more, I guess, recent activities. But in terms of our values and what I guess was put together very early in the piece based on some of the core team, from the early stages of our development were 3 key themes, and those 3 key themes very much cross not just women in BIM, but women in construction broadly, I think. And they are to obviously attract and promote women in BIM-related roles, to have a support system to be able to encourage and support women in these roles, and then obviously a position for role models, in the industry in BIM, so that we can celebrate almost to advance and retain women in BIM, because again, still the numbers for women in leadership roles generally across the board in construction are relatively low. So the 3 key themes are very much instrumental in the projects that we run and the work that we do. So our reach, as I mentioned earlier, we have a very much a strong social media reach, but our numbers based on our historical, I guess, growth have been much growing, I guess, over the last number of years. It's been wonderful to see our LinkedIn community just hit over 1,000 members from women and men all over the world, which is wonderful. We've grown our numbers in the last 12 months. These numbers are just showing in terms of our Twitter followers, and then our website membership, which I'll talk about in a second. In terms of those numbers, they've grown enormously in the past 12 months, which again, is credit to our core team in the UK, as well as some of our activities, I guess, that we've been undertaking globally. So our website membership, if you aren't involved, please get involved. That was something that we put together very much as a response to something we called, which was one of our early projects, the Women in BIM database, which was very much a database of women in BIM related roles all over the world to encourage and promote women in roles to be able to gain visibility for them. And so therefore we've grown our website membership based on the collation of the database, which is very much to support, I guess, positioning women in speaking engagements at events, to have more visibility for women, to act as role models, to support each other, etc., etc. So we've had enormous, again, growth in those numbers over the past 12 months. And again, the LinkedIn community started very early on, so hence we have over 1,000 members there, but our website membership is now at almost 500. I think we just hit 500 the other day, which is wonderful news. And we have people from 38 countries, which, is phenomenal. So I think it's just wonderful to see that we're able to obviously connect with women in BIM-related roles all over the world. As a UK founded initiative, our numbers are higher in the UK, obviously, but leaning in closely our numbers in the US, and we're hoping to grow, I guess, more of what we're doing in the US in the coming 12 months, hopefully. And finally, as you may see, and look, there's been some great progress, and I think one of the key things that I was really passionate about to begin with when I started the group was making sure that we saw women on stages at events and speaking at events and writing articles and doing all this great stuff. But one of the key questions we ask our members when they do register is, are you willing to present and share your ideas? And over half of our members have said, yeah, definitely, we're really keen to do that. So, again, it's just proof that it's not about, it's not just about the fact that there are more numbers, yes, in women in BIM generally, but we do have people that we can position all over the world for speaking and visibility, which is wonderful. So one of the, I guess, the more recent projects, which probably has been happening the last 2 years, and something that we've been trying to push for a long time, is regional representation across the globe. And what that meant for us was developing initiatives around what it means to be a regional lead. And regional leads we're very much asking and putting our feelers out to industry as to strong female leadership in BIM globally. So we now have, and through our website, if you are interested, we have 33 regional leads across 17 countries, and we're always looking for more. You know, there's never enough support. So, you know, again, if you're interested, email us. But what does it really mean to be a regional lead? And this is something that we thought we needed to formalise in some way, so that people understood what their core responsibilities were. And we've probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, Vicky, but probably in the last, you know, 3 or 4 months, even 6 months, really, we've really tried to harness and push this project and start to engage more with our regional leads to contribute to our newsletters, to grow visibility in their region of the world, and raise awareness, and to facilitate meetups. Obviously, with COVID happening now, that's kind of put a little bit of a hold on some of the face-to-face events, but certainly our regional leads are engaging in promoting women in BIM and growing, obviously, the initiative in their particular regions of the world, which again is fantastic. So, you know, our activities, we do a lot, and we do as much as we can, given our, obviously we all, you know, have our full-time jobs, and we're all trying to manage and juggle our work, as well as obviously, you know, our activities for women in BIM and other. But we still have obviously really strong links to industry events and engagement with industry events. And some of the examples, I guess, we've got coming up, if you're interested, certainly we'd love to have more people listen in and be involved. The first is the UK BIM Alliance Forum, where we have Katia Beleva speaking about the Women in BIM Mentor Scheme, and very much giving people a bit more of an overview on what's been happening there, and I guess the development of that project, which is really exciting. The Festival of BIM and Digital Engineering, which is very much a global initiative. A lot of you have heard about it through UK Construction Week and other groups and affiliations that are involved. But we are speaking on a panel session on the 6th of July. Again, please register for that if you're interested. We are event partners, and we generally have event partnership arrangements with events across the world. We have been involved with events such as Digital Construction Week and UK Construction Week, and others, you know, Autodesk, some of the Autodesk events, and some of the Building Smart events globally we've been in industry event partners with. But obviously this year is slightly different with everything happening virtually. So we are industry event partners with Digicon, and our Global Vice Chair, Vicky's been instrumental in formalising that arrangement. And we have our Irish regional lead, Emma Hayes, representing women in BIM at that event. And then we have another event, obviously, with regard to the mentor scheme, which has been, again, you know, our main project this year, with Katia speaking on the 9th of July. And obviously this is something that we're really obviously looking forward to. I'm not going to speak too much about the mentoring event, the mentoring scheme today, but any questions, you know, I've linked in here our mentor lead, Katia, and her contact details. But just, I guess, so there's been a lot of questions from industry to us in terms of, you know, where we are with it and what we've done, basically. But it's very much underway. We've had some great responses. We had wonderful feedback and really good industry support. We have approximately 20 matches. Mentoring is currently underway. And, you know, we have regular feedback from our mentors and mentees about how well it's going. And we hope to obviously feedback, you know, some of the, I guess, success stories next year. Once obviously the mentoring scheme round 1 is I guess, complete. Having said that, we have really trying to push, and again, you know, Katia will be speaking about this in a bit more detail at the UK BIM Alliance Forum, but we have a couple of events that we're looking to orchestrate for unmatched applicants, and looking to obviously bring together people to obviously share ideas and speak and be supported by industry leaders. That's something that we're starting to orchestrate. We also are looking to potentially obviously undertake another round. We're not sure when that will happen yet, probably next year. Again, everything is going to be kind of set up probably later this year to look at dates. But one thing to note is that our Women in BIM Mentor Handbook is very much, again, on the website, free to download. We encourage you to take a look if you're interested in even just any general mentoring guidance, because it is a resource, a free resource there for you to download. And finally, our podcast. We've taken on board some of the initiatives that some of the other groups, I think, that have started to orchestrate, and I think podcasts are great because they're a bit more informal. We can talk about more casually about what we're doing and some of the projects we're working on. So we have podcasts set up for this year. We'll be sharing those in the coming months, and look out for us if you're interested. Again, get in touch and be involved. But we certainly have a number of podcasts set up already for the coming months. So with that, I'll complete my session. I guess just to summarise, if anybody that's attended today is interested in anything that I've spoken about, anything that Vicky or Katia are speaking about today, and even Nick from Glider, please get in touch with us. We always want your feedback and your support, and we're really excited about where women in BIM will go, in the next few years. But I welcome feedback, and I guess I just want to thank everyone for their constant support for the initiative. And yeah, I'll hand you over to Katia, and we'll go from there.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? How am I doing? Well, thank you for asking. I've been struggling, quite honestly. It's been a tough couple of weeks, and this is sort of what I'm talking to you about today. And it is mental health, and I can hear you slightly rolling your eyes and sighing because everybody seems to be talking about mental health in lockdown. But that's probably one of my favorite things, silver lining about this insane time that we're going through, is that this has become okay. It has become okay to actually share when you're not at your best, when things are not going great, because we're all in a very strange time. And as an affiliate group, as a group for women, we're obviously very focused on BIM and promoting technology and promoting women in technology, but we're also a place for people to find support in other senses as well. And as a community like that, we thought it was important to mention that's something that we're here for. And at some of the events that we do, you can very clearly hear that in the murmurs in the room, in the conversations that are being facilitated, that it's definitely a space where you can find that support that you don't necessarily feel comfortable seeking in other professional environments. This is from, remember when we used to be allowed to huddle up together for a selfie? And Girgana's over there. Hi, Girgana, who's listening right now from our core team. We can still do that, and especially a very big thing that could that is happening to a lot of people right now is insecurity with their jobs, maybe being furloughed or entirely redundant, and this definitely could be a huge strain on your mental health. And with groups and organizations like that, we can provide a little bit of a respite for that, when we can help with further connections and also just remaining connected to the industry, because this is quite key. I know that I myself, even if I have a long weekend, when I come back to the office afterwards, I have a huge imposter syndrome. I'm like, I still remember how I used to do those things. So you can imagine when you've been out of work for a little bit longer because of redundancy or furlough, this sort of thing could really bubble up and could really trigger mental health issues. So this is why we wanted to step in and say, here we are. You can go onto our website. Rebecca spoke about some of the events that we were supporting. These are ways to stay connected to the industry, stay really in the things that you're doing, because we know that your career is not really just your job. It's a much bigger thing that, even though imposter syndrome may come in and out, we know that you're doing great. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my personal experience with so this is something I do for my mental health, is reframing. What I was going to say was, it comes naturally. I've been struggling with mental health issues, But instead, I will say I have been working on my mental health for quite a few years now. And there's some techniques and things that I've really seen kick in the first few weeks of lockdown, and have been quite helpful to me. And you may have heard these things before, but another thing that's kind of honed in recently is that sometimes repetition of things like that can really get them in under your skin and make them work. General maintenance is very important for your mental health. And these are things that, even if you're not in lockdown, it's important to have some rituals and have some moments and times to really pay attention to the way you're thinking and how you're perceiving the world around you, because this is the thing that you have control over. And what I've been doing personally in lockdown, I've been very strict with my news intake. No more than 2 minutes of daily news, and I do once a week a 15-minute deep dive on a particular topic, because it can become too overwhelming, especially in a time like that. Yes, we do need to remain informed, but we need to be aware of how this information is influencing the way we think and how we function. I've also been quite stern on the way I work, and I finish work at a certain time in the evening. Especially when you're working from home, it could be very tricky, and you can end up working too long and then having issues sleeping. And I'm sure there's so many things around the house that can distract you, and having to make these decisions, especially whether to remain focused on what you're doing, or just really quickly just deal with that load of washing, or just really quickly deal with the something that your kid needs, or something of the sort. Decision making like this could be very exhausting to the mind. There are studies that have kind of focused on that, and this sort of distraction is very, very strenuous to the mind. So I have to admit, I do tend to start. I'm a morning person. I can start earlier if I know I have extra work, but in the evenings, that's a sacred time that always stays. Meditation is absolutely crucial, has been for my personal survival. I've been quite consistent with it for 2.5 years maybe now, and I'm seeing the effects now. And the thing with all of the things that I'm talking about here, you will see the effects after you've committed for a while, because it is about general maintenance, and it is not easy at all to commit to something like that when you feel stressed, and especially when your mental health is not at its best. But if you try and commit to one for long enough, then you'll see the effects of it, and you'll be stimulated to commit to more of those long-term improvements to the way you maintain your mental health. And of course, even like the smallest thing, the way my morning starts, I have 2 things that I need to do in the morning, no matter what happens. I need to get up and feed my cats, and I need to have a hot water with lemon and turmeric. And these are about 20 minutes in the morning, nobody can touch. It's just for me and my cats. And it works to open up a day that is a little bit more calm and collected. And this is a time where, you know, small children and animals can be very helpful to keep you up, because I mean, look at her. She is helpless. She is absolutely helpless. You can't leave her alone. So I need to get out of bed for her. But obviously there are times where it's not just general maintenance, you need a little bit more. And of course, I'm not a mental health specialist. I just have my personal experience. And please, if you feel very distressed, do seek professional help. But if you feel in maybe a more mild state, these are some things that I myself do. If that is the case, sorry, talk about it, say it, just say it out loud. Maybe the first person you have a chance to speak to may not be able to hear it, but even just hearing it coming out of your mouth, saying like, I'm not okay, I'm struggling, it could be very, very powerful to release you out of this. Maybe the first person won't be able to hear you the way you need to, but you will have granted yourself some space to work on it. Because if you don't admit that there's something that's not working best at the moment, you won't be able to address it or make it better in any way. My personal kind of, if I need to give anyone one advice when you're really struggling, and my experience with depression, this is a quite common, a very easy tool if you can't get out of bed, if you feel really, really low and things are very, very overwhelming and just not working, what I do is I focus on 2 things, no more. And I find that with lockdown, this has been the case for me. I feel overwhelmed about the future and how things are going to develop and what's going to happen. Just lifting my gaze a little bit further down the timeline makes me too anxious. So what I do is I focus just on 2 actions. 2 things, nothing exists beyond. You need to get out of bed, take a shower. These are 2 small things, you can get through them. After they're finished, maybe there are 2 more. So trying to stay focused on that 2 actions ahead is enough, especially in a time like this. Plenty. And then last but not least, trust yourself and seek actual help. Because the truth is, in times when you're not feeling well, there is something in you that knows what's best for you. And there are things we do to manage and cope that may not be perfect. In the back of your head, you know that extra glass of wine may not be the best solution and maybe better to call someone instead. Similar things like that. Seek help because it is there and it is available. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about resources in a minute. But things have changed in the way we've been looking at mental health, and that's so fortunate for so many of us. And maybe you are able to seek professional help, and that's great. And it's very fortunate. If you're not, for one reason or another, there are so many other resources. And something that I have found, I've been in therapy for years and years now, but before I started individual therapy, I used to listen to quite a lot of mental health podcasts, and it really felt to me like group therapy because there are many people kind of sharing their experiences, and there is sort of affirmation into that really makes you feel better about addressing your own issues. This is one that I can recommend. This is what I used to listen to about 4 or 5 years ago, the Mental Illness Happy Hour, and there's a comedian hosting it, so it's there are fun parts of it that balance. There's some sugar to balance the medicine in, and it really helped me to be in a place to seek more help as well. Another resource that my therapist has actually recommended me is CCI, which is actually the Government of Western Australia resource, but it's entirely free. And if you go on their website, they have multiple self-assessment sheets and worksheets for various different mental health problems. I've actually printed out some of them for myself over here. And they can be very helpful to just get you in a little bit more of a focused place, see, because all of us kind of feel like, oh yeah, I'm fine, like I'm not that bad when we're facing the mental health stigma sort of thing. And you have very kind of black and white self-assessment sheets that could tell you, well, actually, maybe you need a little bit of support. Here's another resource. Maybe you could do this exercise once a day and that could help you. And it's all entirely for free. Recommended by professional therapists, which is quite helpful. And another potential resource, which is usually free, is group support. And I know that we're not allowed to gather now, but fortunately, we have the wonder of the interweb. So you can reach out and look out for other people who are struggling. And often talking to people that you don't know in your personal life can be easier. One place that you can look for support group is Rethink Mental Illness, which is a source for things like that, but you need only Google to figure out what's kind of happening in your area. Similarly with the podcast, there are many more podcasts on mental health now, and maybe you'll find the right one that really speaks to you. It takes a second, and we did have a previous event with Women in BIM where I compared my search for a therapist with Bridget Jones's endeavors in finding love. And it was a similar roller coaster. So it takes a second to find the right help. But I think one of the most important things is not to give up and give those things a second to work. And this is from me. I hope you're all feeling well. And if you're not, that's okay. We're going to get there. I'm just going to hand over back to Vicky.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Katia. Let me see if I can turn my webcam back on. There we go. Right, okay, great. We've had a couple of comments and questions, so I'll go through those now, and please do keep sending them through whilst I'm talking if you've got anything to say or anything to add to us. We've got a couple of minutes here, and like I say, if there's anything that we don't manage to get through, then I'll make sure that we respond, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's through a blog post or something similar. So what we've got here, I think there's one that's more of a comment, I think, from Kay. Often the problem is rooted in education. We struggle at Northumbria University to get more women into computer science courses. I'd be keen to promote the software development side of our students, If anyone wants to come and talk to our students about roles in industry, I'd be keen to hear from them. We also work with industry, getting students in placements and doing projects which exposes them to roles in industry, such as working in BIM, that they wouldn't normally know about. Oh, awesome, cool. So if anyone is interested in reaching out to Kay or Northumbria University and presenting to them about what they do in their day-to-day role, or going in and talking to some of the students, or maybe has opportunities for placements or anything like that, please drop us an email at info@womeninbim.org, and we'll make sure that that gets passed on to them. Also, we've had a request to circulate dates of events and some of the slides post-conference. Yep, we'll pop them all into a package and make sure that they're released to all of the attendees. And for dates of what we're doing as well, just make sure that you're either following us on Twitter, or if you're not a big Twitter fan, on our LinkedIn group, and that's where we post about what we're doing, the events that we're supporting, where people are speaking. Equally, I think it's been mentioned already today, but if you're interested in presenting, we do often get approached by events and conferences, things like that, looking for female speakers for specialist subjects. So do feel free to let us know if you're keen and interested in doing that kind of stuff, because we have a pool of people, but it always needs to be widened, and we want to get more women on panels. We want to get more women presenting. Okay, not a question, but just in relation to Katya's suggestion for minimizing news consumption. I read the week when it's published, and that helps me get a summary of the week's news, and it balances good and bad news stories, which is really helpful. Oh, cool, that's an awesome suggestion there. So the week is something that it's Kay again likes to read, providing good and bad news, and I guess it means that you don't get obsessed and absorbed by the bad news stories that are dominating our newsreels at the moment. Awesome. Cool. And oh, another comment here, and I completely agree with this one. Katia talking openly has helped me manage my mental health, and it's great to see and hear you talk openly about your own struggles. Thank you for sharing. I mean, it's something for me personally as well. Katia has been a huge help. You always present yourself fully, whether it's to a small audience or a larger audience. You always bring your whole self, and it's really great to see. And I think it lets other people open as well. And I know that since working with Katia, this is a bit of a Katia love fest, but since working with her, I also have tried to do similar things and be a little bit more open, and bring a little bit more of my whole self to things that I present at and groups that I'm involved in, just to sort of let people know that we're human beings, and it's okay that your work life and your personal life sometimes will engage with each other, and everybody's human. So that's great. So those are the only comments and questions that I can see at the moment. If anyone
Vicky,
has anything.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
hello?
I just hi Vicky, it's Nick from Glider.
Hello, Nick.
Hi, I'd just like to respond directly to Kay Robert's comment about coming to a chat to the students at Northumbria. We'd be absolutely delighted to do that. Myself, John Adams, who I think knows Kay pretty well, to come and talk about the exciting world of Contech and PropTech, and how software engineering is really starting to transform what we do. We'd be thrilled to get involved.
Excellent. What we'll do there, Nick, is share details between the two parties there if you don't already have case details, and that would be great to get you guys engaged. Excellent.
Thank you.
So I don't think I can see any more questions on here. Apologies if any have come through in the last minute and I haven't seen them. So I think we're just running into time, so it would be a good place to end our presentation now. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you found it as interesting as I have, and I really hope that you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about us. This has been the initial event to sort of outline who we are and what we do. Any further webcams that we, any further webinars that we deliver, hopefully will be a little bit more specific to certain topics. We won't just be presenting about who we are and what we do. We'll hopefully explore a little bit about what you guys are doing and what's actually happening in the industry, share some stories and some case studies. So I look forward to presenting more to you in the future. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you have any questions or comments, drop them through to info@womeninbim.org, or I am Vicky@womeninbim.org, or Rebecca is Rebecca@womeninbim.org. Equally, Katia@womeninbim.org. There's a theme here. I hope you can see it. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. See you later. Bye.